We begin with the game of the night, the moment of the night. Rams, Vikings, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua, both back. Meanwhile, second quarter, both offenses started hot. And RC, how about a little Houdini from Matthew Stafford?
Matthew Stafford, who says you can't move the high step to get out of the pocket, throws the ball in the end zone, touchdown, Cooper Kupp.
That's a spectacular play by, you're right, usually not known as the most mobile of quarterbacks. This one tied at 14 at halftime, third quarter still tied after we see another spectacular look there. There's a first down for Darnold and Justin Jefferson. He had himself another big night. What a catch.
Listen,
here.
Justin Jefferson, one of the best in the game. The concentration, he gets 3 feet down before he goes out of bounds. I've been seeing this dude do this since high school, still improving.
It's amazing. He got 3 feet down, and he only has 2 feet. Vikings end up with a field goal, take a 17-14 lead. And we mentioned, it's not just Kupp who was back, but Puka Nacua had a night.
Listen, Puka Nacua, his cousin works here for Get Up. His name is Big Miguel. He gets inside, plays inside the numbers, gives Matthew Stafford a target, and he's hit him again.
Inside joke, but a good one. Stafford, Demarcus Robinson, touchdown. Sean McVay fired up. We got a good game.
This is great. Sean McVay saw the motion, went to the one-on-one. Matthew Stafford showing why he's one of the best passers in the league.
Sean McVay going for it with a 1-point lead, eschewing the field goal there, going on 4th and inches, and they get it. Stafford loves it. And then 2 plays later, it leads to this.
Steps up in the pocket, makes an easy throw, wide open on the back end. You're starting to wonder what's going on with the Vikings secondary.
And then what's going on here? This is Sam Darnold's chance to be the hero, and he would never get it. Down 8, dragged down by the face. Look, the defender grabs his helmet immediately.
He didn't grab his helmet because he thought he had made the game-winning play.
That's exactly right. It's a safety instead of the most blatant and obvious face mask that you will ever see. And that's how it ends. The Rams win it 30-10. Impossible to believe. Teddy is up with us there. I want to just show it again from the angle that we have because you will see an official standing. Cindy, if you can. There's number 3 is standing right there. What is it he's looking at? Look, I don't mean to call it's a difficult job. But Teddy, I mean, what is your reaction as we watch this?
Yeah, it's a tough job, but I mean, there it is right there. There was another official back there also. And as someone personally that's doubted Sam Darnold all year, going out for that drive, I was like, here we go. Sam, show me what you got. This is where you can take your team to a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. That's when Sam really could have made a believer out of me, and it was taken away from him. Listen, it is hard, Greeny. I mean, the officials get graded. If anything, keep these officials out of the playoffs because I don't know how you missed this, but this grading system, hopefully it works because these type of plays, I mean, they can't be missed, these penalties when seasons are on the line.
Sam Darnold's head was going to be facing backwards like on Beetlejuice when he spun his head around and you miss it. And here's the other thing. Officials, you can cheat. You can literally get in the huddle. They're going to be replaying this in the stadium at SoFi because they want everybody to see. They want everybody to see, look at this great play. And while you're huddling, you tell the homie, hey, bro, I want you to look at the screen and tell me if this is a face mask. And when you see it, you then throw the flag and you say, after further conversation, we realized Sam Darnold was looking out of his ear hole. Right? But you can't. I know. I don't want to make it that big of a deal, but this changes games, which changes years, which changes careers. You can't miss these calls.
Yeah, and look, they still got to go 80 yards, right? Like, and get a 2-point convert, right? But they didn't get the chance to do it, and very frustrating. And then seeing Byron Young holding his head like he knew he would. I can't believe I got his face mask. What do you mean they didn't call it? But yeah, look, to me, you know how I feel about replay review in sports, which is that I hate it and think it should go away and it will ruin sports. But that's a conversation for a different day. If you're going to have it, if you're going to insist on doing it, this is a player safety rule, the face mask penalty. If you can't review that, then what are you even doing with replay review? I just think, to me, like asking about this, why couldn't you use replay assist in the moment? The answer is because no flag was thrown. If a flag is thrown, you can then they can buzz in. But if no flag is thrown, they're not going to buzz in to create a penalty flag. So flaw in the system, to be sure.
I've said a million times, replay. I am a believer in instant replay in sports, but it has been misutilized in practically all sports. The reality is, instant replay should be available to correct glaring, obvious mistakes. I call it the one-look rule. If you need to look at it more than than one time, the call stands.
Right.
But anyone would have on one look, and again, the official is standing right there. On one look, you could have.
The player knew he did it.
Yeah, the player, Byron Young, is holding his own head.
I get there has to be like some integrity in the league, right? New York just can't buzz in if it's against the rules, but there should be a way in this sort of situation to correct it.
Oh, by the way, the Vikings in the last 5 days have dropped 2 games to go from undefeated to not even close to first place. And the Rams are a game out of first in the NFC West. That's what happened last night. Now we start looking ahead. Biggest game of the weekend, Sunday night. Cowboys out west to play the 49ers. It has been, to say the least, a disappointment for Dak and the Cowboys offense this year. He has back-to-back game with multiple picks. He's never done that in 3 straight games in his entire career. His completion percentage, 63%, his lowest since his 2nd year in the league. Last year, he completed just under 70% of his throws. His total QBR this year, 48.9. That would be the lowest mark for a season in his career. He's currently 23rd among 31 qualified quarterbacks in that stat. Here's Dak with a self-assessment headed to San Francisco.
I'd say I've played average, and average isn't good enough right now by any means. I mean, it's never been good enough for me, so I can't say that I've been happy or excited after any of these games that I've played. I can just play better, for sure, and preparing to.
All right, so, and this has been, to top it all off, RC, his house of horrors, right? I mean, Dak against, what we have seen from the 49ers against the Cowboys the last few years has been very painful for those who like the Dallas Cowboys. Can he turn that around this Sunday night? Can Dak be the reason the Cowboys pull off a win that would surprise a lot of people?
No, Dak absolutely can. We've seen Dak Prescott play at an MVP level, and I love the sense of accountability that he has and the way that he's played this season, but he's wrong. He's played below average. Right, because your average doesn't get to be the average of the rest of the players in the league. Your average is the average that's taken from a quarterback who's the highest paid player that's ever touched an NFL field. And outside of maybe the Cleveland Browns game earlier on in the season and also the Pittsburgh Steelers game where I felt Dak was at his best, he's been below the line for his play. He's in some senses been the reason that this offense hasn't moved the ball. And Dak Prescott can't be that. I said a few Fridays ago on this show, if they want to win games, Dak Prescott has to play at an MVP level. He hasn't been close to that, and I believe that this team feels it. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys as a whole, we knew that this roster wasn't up to snuff to compete in the NFC, but what we've seen from this team has been flat out embarrassing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we can talk about Dak all we want, but Teddy, the reality is it has been the defense. In their 3 losses this year, they're giving up well over 200 yards rushing per game, and now they're going in there. I know Christian McCaffrey isn't playing, but this is sort of where it all begins, right? The San Francisco offense was the first of these great running offenses. Is there any reason to believe the 49ers are not going to shred the Cowboys on the ground?
No, I think Kyle Shanahan has a lot of common sense in him. I mean, besides just looking at the tape and looking what they've done in previous matchups, this is going to be Mason, this is going to be Garendo, this is going to be 30 to 40 times, and if they can't stop it, that's all they're going to do because Kyle knows the situation of his team. All right, they're beat up. A lot of their stars are out. They're going in, they win this one, they hit the bye week and heal up, and then it's ready for this second push. That's what it's going to be. He's going to try and get this win as simply as possible, run the football, play action pass, easy for Purdy, nothing complex, and get out of there. Because Dallas, it's about who is suiting up on defense. Is Bland, is Kendricks, is Parsons, who's not going to be there? I mean, it's just, and they're coming off a bye, and they're supposed to be rested up, but still, they're missing a lot of key players. So it's common sense formula for Kyle Shanahan in running this football, Greeny.
Yeah, Micah Parsons hasn't practiced this week. Deron Bland hasn't practiced this week. They could practice today and play, but also maybe not, and even if they do, they might be diminished. Earlier this week, making the picks, right? Earlier this week, Green's taking the Cowboys out.
I'll tell you what, no one would be more surprised than me if I'm right here. But I always go the other way. Whenever, and it generally works, whenever everyone thinks something is going to happen, it generally doesn't.
I was thinking about it. You get the picks, you're making the picks for all the games, and I'm thinking to myself, Debo was in the hospital with pneumonia, Kittle has a foot thing, but Debo got in a limited practice yesterday, and so did Kittle. And if they have those guys guys, they're going to have too much, I think, for an undermanned Cowboys defense and a Cowboys team that can't run the ball. I just think it's a bad matchup.
The last 3 games, they've handed the football off 111 times,
right.
452 yards, 5 tutties. They're going to give the football to Jordan Mason.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
going to give the football to Garindo. And if you watch this team, the more they've had to put it on Brock Purdy's shoulders, the more mistakes we've seen from the past game. Kyle Shanahan understands it's not about style points. It's about winning on the scoreboard.